Hello and welcome to Never Seen It, a podcast about movies we haven't seen yet. My name is Trent. I'm here with my wife, Betsy.
Oh, hi there.
We are continuing on with our movies of the decade.
Our journey through time.
Yes. Last time we were here, we were covering 1962. Today we are going to cover 1972. If you missed the last one, we covered The Manchurian Candidate, a movie that very much was in vogue. Today we're covering Deliverance, a movie that neither of us have seen, and it's just one of these movies that is in the lexicon for a specific thing, I think.
Yes, I think everybody knows one particular detail about the movie Deliverance.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to get into that particular thing. Everybody knows what it is, so we're not even going to cover it.
I'm going to cover it. It's a banjo song.
It is a banjo song. So we kind of were going back and forth about what to cover here. There aren't a lot of movies from 1972 that really jumped out at us, except for a couple.
I think the thing about the 70s, this is historically when movies got more realistic, grittier, darker. Like the 70s as a whole, I have found I am not always the biggest fan of a lot of the, quote, best movies of that decade. And I think it's because they're so realistic that it makes me unhappy.
Well, it's realistic, and they were allowed to be more creative. Like,
yes.
Star Wars came out of the 70s.
Right.
And one movie that came out of 1972 was The Godfather.
Yes.
The movie that everybody and their dad thinks is the best movie of all time. I have never seen The Godfather,
Oh, no.
but we will cover the Godfather trilogy in another series way down the line.
Yes, we could have picked The Godfather. I have seen it. Trent has not.
Yeah.
But once we crack that egg, we got to do all of them.
Exactly. So that's not what we're doing here. We are going to watch Deliverance. So besides the obvious, Betsy, what do you know about Deliverance?
I know remarkably little about this movie. I know the star is Jon Voight. I don't really know anybody else who's in it. They're in the woods, and some horrible shit happens.
The other one that you're missing is Burt Reynolds.
Of course, Burt Reynolds. Because why wouldn't Burt Reynolds be in this movie from the 70s?
Yes.
Because we've talked about it before. For the 80s, it was Michael Douglas that everybody wanted to fuck, and in the 70s, it was Burt Reynolds.
Well, and this is 1972. This is before he really was super famous.
He was getting to be famous.
Jon Voight is the star of this movie.
Yes. I think Jon Voight had maybe already been nominated for an Academy Award.
Probably for Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his big claim to fame before this.
Mm-hmm.
And then Burt Reynolds just kind of became his own thing after this movie. So, yeah, it's a group of dudes who are like canoeing on a river, and they encounter some hillbillies, let's say.
Some backwoods crazy people.
Yeah.
Who play
that. And like shit goes down. I really don't know. Is this like a fucking Rambo situation where they're like shooting guns everywhere?
Or are they eating them? Are they attacking them?
I don't know.
What are they doing?
Like, I understand that this movie is creepy in an unsettling way, but as far as like what the story is, why they're here, why they get caught up with these people,
do they make it out alive?
Do they all make it out alive? I have no idea. So, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about Deliverance.
No, for a movie that's been around for 50 years, we know the big points. We don't really know the overall story. I know kind of next to nothing about this movie.
Yeah, so that's why we're covering it. Betsy, we're going to go and watch Deliverance. Short intro today. We will be right back. And we're back. Betsy, you didn't bring your banjo.
No, I left that safely in its case not to be touched today.
No, I don't think that would really do well on this here show. Betsy, that was Deliverance. What did you think about that?
So the description, the tagline on this movie is something to the effect of 4 friends go on a canoe trip they'll never forget. You think?
Well, 3 of them won't forget it.
One of them will never forget it because he also won't remember it because he didn't make it to the end of the movie.
Uh-huh.
So because I had heard that some terrible things go wrong on this trip, I had set my expectations really high for awful, awful things to happen. And actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
All right.
So in that regard, I was actually like, okay, I can handle this because my expectation, the bar was so high that they didn't go that far.
And you didn't mention that in the intro, that you had you had known about
I knew
something that was going to happen in the woods.
I knew that bad things were going to happen, but my imagination made them much worse than what actually happened. Though the events of this movie are still pretty fucking traumatic for these guys.
Yeah.
So overall, it's okay. I don't think this is an amazing movie. I think there were definitely moments of absolute suspense that I found myself catching my breath, like waiting for something to happen. Because again, I was setting the expectation.
Right.
So like there's the scene where Jon Voight goes out into the woods by himself and he's trying to shoot a deer.
Yeah.
But while he's going out there, I'm like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Right. And like you said in the intro, this is the time when filmmakers kind of were let loose. They can do whatever they want.
Pushing
if
the
you
envelope.
see something that you want to adapt, apparently this is based on a book.
Yep.
So if you want to go out and adapt something that maybe wouldn't normally be able to get made, you can go ahead and make it. And this was very unique. It is, like you said, it is 4 dudes, probably in their mid to early 30s.
Listen, it's 1972, and we were like, how old are these guys? They could be 25, they could be 50. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just kind of how people were brought up back then. But we assume that these guys are in their mid-30s. They all have good jobs.
A couple of them are married.
They live in a big city. They live in Atlanta, or at least the suburbs of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. They're all white.
Yeah, they're city boys.
They're city boys. So they liken themselves to be, hey, we can be outdoorsy. We can go off and do whitewater rafting or whatever the fuck they want to do.
We have canoes and camping and bows and arrows and,
One of us knows how to hunt for food.
Well, he likens himself an outdoorsman.
Yeah. So, and a lot of this stuff still happens to this day. There's plenty of guys and gals who go out there and think that they're hot shit, and then they come back with broken bones and they never do it again.
Yeah, also maybe check out this river before you decide to go canoeing, because if there were whitewater rapids, you should probably know that before you attempt to ride down them.
Right. So we start off the movie with these 4 guys kind of doing a voiceover.
They're having a conversation.
They're having a conversation and giving a background of what they're actually doing. This river is going to be dammed up. There's no longer going to be a river. It is going to fill up and fill up and fill up because it is going to be dammed.
Hundreds of feet
and
deep.
Turned into a power facility, a power making plant.
So we see the construction happening and hear their voiceover as they hatch their plan.
Right. This is the last time they're going to be able to do this. You're never going to be able to do this again. So why not do it now?
Yep.
So they get up to, I guess, where they think the birth of the river is.
Appalachia.
Sure.
Wherever that is.
Wherever
they don't
it happens
say
to be, it doesn't matter. It's probably in like the eastern parts of Tennessee, because it's going to come down into Georgia and the like. So.
And they say like this, it starts Friday, and he's like, I'm going to get y'all back by Sunday afternoon for the football game.
Right. You're all going to be back by then. So that is to say they're going to be there for about a day and a half.
Yeah.
So they go up there. It's a long trip. They go up to this burnt out like house
/ gas station,
I guess. They didn't really say that until they're filling up the gas. And they are just remarking on what they're seeing is, oh yeah, there's a bunch of hillbillies out here and just backwoods country, nothing.
And they make some comment about them all being inbred, or like these
they're all
these
related.
are not the cream of the crop. And yeah, these are like some real backwoods, dirty, like toothless.
Malnourished, toothless people who...
They all look kind of weird.
Yeah, they don't really see civilization all that much.
No. So they meet these guys, and they have this little scene where they're just trying to figure out where they're going to go and how they're going to get there, and they need a couple of guys to drive their cars.
Yeah, they're trying to look for dudes.
To the back end.
They're going to give them money, saying, okay, we're going to take our supplies and our canoes, we're going to find the river, we're going to go down the river, and our cars should be there at wherever it comes out.
Yep, and the 4 guys...
And it should be a natural conclusion to what the end of the river is.
Yeah, and the 4 guys, we've got Jon Voight and Burt Reynolds as the 2 characters that we knew were in this.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd guy is Ned Beatty, who I've seen in some other things
We've seen in other things, yeah.
I didn't catch the other guy's name, but he is somebody who I know older. Like, I saw him in a bunch of stuff in, like, the late 80s
Drew is the
and
character.
90s. So, yeah, Drew, Ed, Bobby, and Lewis. Mm-hmm. They're all up there. They're trying to figure it out. And Lewis is kind of a smooth talker. He's running around in, what do you call that? Like a scuba suit material vest?
It's like a scuba suit cutoff.
But a vest.
Yeah, it's a vest.
Just the vest.
I don't know where the hell he got that.
And no mustache. He would have been too hot for this movie if he had the mustache.
The mustache was on the wrong person.
Yes, Jon Voight got the mustache in this one. And yeah, they just are kind of smooth talking, these hillbillies telling them, oh, fill up the gas tank and we know where we're going. And they're kind of cocky. And there's like one of them, Drew, plays the guitar.
Yeah. And he brought a guitar along with them because, you're going to have a campfire, you're going to have a guitar and have some music.
As one does.
Sure.
And then we get that iconic scene where he has a kid is sitting up on the bench.
There's this kid
with a
banjo who is just kind of going along with whatever's happening. And this scene is, of course, the most famous scene in the movie. I did not expect it to happen within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it's very, like, uplifting, and they're having, like, a cute little duel.
Yeah, it's a high-energy kind of a thing. They're having a great time.
Everybody's smiling. The old man starts dancing.
Right, we're having a connection with the locals.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But, oh boy.
But then it gets really weird really quickly. Like, Drew, like, says, oh, I could play with this kid all day. And he sticks his hand out to shake his hand. And he just, like, quickly turns his head to the left and, like, shuns him.
Yeah, he just turns away from him. Like, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah, it's weird. It was a weird little reaction.
Yeah. Apparently, that was the first scene that they shot for the movie.
I mean, it sets a tone, certainly.
Yeah.
Like, these are the kinds of people you're gonna meet. And nothing is as it seems, I guess.
I guess. Like, these are simple people, and they don't really do much. Like, Burt Reynolds and Jon Voight will go off a little bit after this, after they get the fill-up, and try to find somebody to do the car thing. And they're kind of looking in people's windows, and they see this child that was extremely malnourished, just kind of in a bed.
She was also, like...
Deformed?
Yeah. And then, like, old grandma covered in weird markings. Like, her face was all weird.
Again, these are people who have never seen a doctor.
No.
They don't know what a doctor is, for the most part. So,
no, but apparently there's these brothers that live there. Oh, they'll drive your cars down there.
Again, it is setting the tone for who these people are, what this environment is. But yeah, they finally find somebody who's willing to do it, and he says, I'll give you $30 to go down there. And he says 50. And he's not expecting negotiation to happen here.
No.
So the $50 my ass, and he insults him.
Yeah, and this is where you kind of get a good setup of who Lewis is as a character and who Ed is. Like, Ed's like, Lewis, do not, like, piss these people off.
Right.
What the hell are you doing? They are not
I need
used
my
to
car
this.
back.
Yeah, I need them to actually do this. Which... This is such an era of the time. Like, the fact that in the 70s you still had people who hitchhiked. It was like, yes, it's okay to just give someone your car and trust that they will do what you ask them to do.
Yeah, just give me your keys and whatever happens, happens. You know?
And they're just, like, completely believing. Like, one of them is like, well, what if they don't? And the other guy's, they will.
Yeah.
The fact that you have that much trust in random hillbillies that you've kind of insulted and never met before, like, you would never do that these days. You would have an entirely second human being or two other human beings to drive you up there and drop you off and then be waiting for you at the other end.
You take an Uber up there, you call an Uber to come back.
I don't think they have Uber up in the mountains like that. If they do, it's one guy named Bubba. I don't know.
Yeah, so that whole thing, again, is just setting the tone for the rest of the movie. And they finally find somebody, they get in the cars, and they go off and... Lewis doesn't really know where they're going, but he's leading this entire pack.
He's a cocky son of a bitch, and he's just like,
Well,
sometimes you just gotta get lost in the woods.
It's the biggest river in the entire state. How are we not going to find it?
Yeah,
just going along this random country road.
Drive until you hit it.
Right. So he gets to a dead end, like taking a bumpy ride the entire way.
He's driving like a lunatic.
Yes.
Like that wheel is going everywhere.
Right. But you know what? I have been on treks like this in not in like the deep woods, but like in the Black Hills of South Dakota. There are some really sketchy back roads you can take.
Absolutely.
And like my dad would always be the one driving, and me in the backseat as a kid, I have no idea where we are going. I've got a pretty good sense of direction, but good God, I don't know where we're going. And I'm freaking out in the backseat, yelling at my dad, "Where are you going? I do not know where we are. You're going way too fast. I'm bumping all around the backseat. What are you doing?" So I know exactly what John Voight is thinking here.
The only time I've experienced anything like that, I was visiting a friend in Florida, and she was in school getting a biology degree, or she was doing a study that involved going to a swamp.
Yeah.
And there is a massive swamp there called the Green Swamp. And you have to have a guide. This thing is so big, you will get lost and you will die. It is full of crocodiles and axe murder houses and all kinds of stuff. And so she was like, well, you could stay here or you could come with me because I really got to do this. I'd made this appointment and it's hard to schedule. And I said, that's fine. I'll come to the swamp with you. And yeah, we were in 2 cars and we're driving slow, but still it's like they could be taking us to leave us in the middle of this, 1,000,000-acre swamp.
Right.
And they would just like take us around a corner and then say, all right, get out and shut the door really slow. Why? Why are we being quiet? And we go around and there's
What's
just like
the reason?
40 gator eyes like popping out of the top of this water. So I've been in some like backwoods kind of things, but never driving. I too have been the victim of
and never not without expert guides.
Right. So we have not had this kind of experience. We're not crazy where we're just going to drive, point the car and go nuts.
Betsy and I really are not outdoorsy people.
No,
we stick around in our basement for the most part.
We
watch movies for fun. We don't do this kind of shit.
I like being inside.
Not that we're poo-pooing anybody who does, but still.
I am soft and weak. I do not go in the mountains.
Exactly. So... that all being said, Lewis is gung-ho about this entire thing. Later, we get a conversation with him saying, you know what, we all need to learn how to live off the land and survive because I fully believe that society is going to collapse.
The machines will fail us.
All of the systems will fail, and we're going to have to live off the land eventually. And there's plenty of people like that now who think that, like, oh yeah, the electricity systems are going to fail, the internet's going to go out, and we're back to the Stone Age immediately.
But this guy's a lot of talk. Like, other than like shooting with his little, he's like, what do you call it? He's fishing, but with a bow and arrow. Like, he's got a line attached to his bow.
That is not an uncommon thing.
No.
People use things like that and spear fishing.
But that's about the most outdoorsy thing he does. Like, this was his big idea for this adventure.
Yeah, and he and John Voight go on these adventures, not quite this extreme, but they tend to go out on other adventures with maybe other people.
Yeah.
And the other 2 guys, they are just like tag-alongs.
They're like guys they work with or like a friend of a friend.
It's a friend of a friend who likes who you heard that they like doing this stuff.
Yeah.
You need a 4th just in case you need extra people to hunt. I don't know.
Like Bobby says, "Oh, I didn't know Drew very well" at one point in the movie. And yeah, so it's just a bunch of guys who barely know each other, except the two leads who seem to be really good friends and go on a lot of these kinds of trips.
Yeah.
And we don't really know why, other than friends talking friends into doing stupid shit.
Right. It's a bunch of like office workers. Like Bobby works in insurance.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is why he's kind of their spokesperson. He's sort of the slick talker and the salesman.
Right.
Like he's constantly the one they put forth when they need a representative. Like he's the first one that's talking to the hillbillies when they're trying to get gas, and he's the first one that talks to the cops at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And he's the first one every time they need somebody to speak for the group.
But yes, eventually they do find the water because he stops after he gets lost and he just listens. He can hear the river flowing.
Yep.
So they finally make it. They put their canoes in the water, and from here on out until they get to the next big scene, it's just a bunch of shots of them in the water.
Yeah, and they're really doing this. Like, you can tell these dudes are in the canoe. They are paddling.
Yeah.
If there are little bitty rapids, it's them doing it. Because you could have stuntmen in the 1970s. They did it all the time leading up to this. But it would have been so obvious for this kind of movie, it wouldn't really pay off.
Or you could have dummies. So they did employ some dummies here for some of these shots.
When they're floating, probably, in the water.
Right, so what I read was there was one of these scenes near the later scenes where there's a lot of rapids happening and they get out of the canoe. There was supposed to be a scene of Burt Reynolds as a dummy where he's just kind of bouncing on the riverbed, but it looked bad when they looked back on it. So Burt Reynolds says, "Okay, I'm just gonna do it," and he does it, and he breaks his damn tailbone, and he goes to him and says, "Okay, well, how did that look?" After he fucking breaks his tailbone, and he says, "Well, it looks like a dummy going down the rapids."
Oh, no.
It didn't really look any better. It's just he's literally just bouncing there, and I was watching that scene specifically to see. Okay, yeah, that kind of looks like he's bouncing on his butt. So,
because you're being shoved along at quite a clip.
Yeah, and there's another story about Ned Beatty was again in the water. He gets swept underneath the water, and they like lost track of him. So one of the production assistants dove in after him. He was underwater for 30 seconds.
Yeah, these guys almost died in this movie, like for real.
And Betsy, there was no insurance for these people. At all.
This is when I tell you, back in the 70s, they made movies differently.
Very much so. You would not get a big star like a Burt Reynolds or even a Jon Voight to do this stuff without insurance, even for their own sake.
Well, and now what you'd do is you'd have a couple of different stuntmen with little dots painted on their face.
Sure, they're just going to digitally superimpose the face of the actor. Or they wouldn't
do it for real. They would just computer animate the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, it is a green dummy.
I guess. So yeah, they're really in this water.
This is all
They're
legit
really
stuff.
having an adventure. And the first day goes great. Like they make it to their campsite, they're playing the guitar.
Yeah, they're having the banter back and forth of the things that guys like this would talk about.
Mm-hmm. They're all drinking.
Yeah, they're all drinking. Like, at the end of the day, Ed is clearly drunk.
Ed's having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, he's opening up like, "Lewis, thanks for having this adventure with me," kind of thing. Like, you're my best friend.
Right. And they're having a good time. They're playing the guitar, like you said, and everybody goes to sleep. We wake up the next morning. Ed is the first one up. He goes over to Lewis, and he just kind of whimpers a little bit. He's like, "No, I'm not
ready to get up yet."
I don't want to get up. So he gets up and gets his bow and arrow because he's hungry. He wants to go out and hunt. And he finds this deer, and he's bringing up his bow and arrow to shoot it, and he can't do it.
Right, and this is important later because they show him, he draws the arrow, he's holding it, and then he starts shaking. He just has to let go, and he's holding it so much his muscles are starting to shake.
Right, and in a previous scene, I don't know if it was here or right after this, I think Drew says something about, "I can't believe anybody would take the life of an animal."
I think it's right after this. Because, like, he tries to shoot the deer. He finally lets the arrow go.
He completely misses.
And he completely misses, and the deer gets away.
Yeah.
So he pulls the arrow out, and he comes back.
Sure.
And, yeah, they're having a conversation, packing up camp. And they're saying something about, "I can't believe someone would kill an animal."
Yeah.
And Lewis says something about, it's like a symptom. Like, guys who shoot targets, people who shoot arrows all the time, in competition, they can hit the bullseye every time, but you put them in front of an actual animal they have to kill,
thing, yeah.
They can't do it. It's like a psychological aversion. And that's going to be relevant later, but they get back on the water and they kind of split up, I think, at this point.
Well, and Lewis actually tells Ed, "Hey, I want to swap. I don't want to be with Bobby this time." And Bobby was the same way once they got back into the boat. Like, just don't yell at me. I'm not used to getting yelled at.
They all keep kind of switching who's in what canoe throughout the movie a little bit.
Yeah, and they do kind of split up here. Bobby and Ed go ahead, and this is where I don't know why did they stop the boat?
The only thing I can figure is they're so far ahead now that they're waiting for the other guys to catch up.
Okay.
Like, they're having a conversation like, I wonder what happened to those guys. They're pretty far behind us now.
Yeah, so they stop the boat and just get up onto land, and there's these two guys.
They spot some dudes in the woods.
Yeah, one of them with a double-barrel shotgun, and supposedly they're out hunting.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
But of course, they come right up to them and start talking shit and threatening them, and this is where things go badly very quickly.
Yeah. So this is where we get a couple of other lines that came out of this movie that have
things I have heard before.
Yeah, just inserted into the lexicon that I did not really realize until I saw it in this movie in context where they come from.
Yeah, so the first one is the you're gonna squeal like a pig.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of squealing.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is, you sure got a pretty mouth.
You sure got a pretty mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not going to get into what happens there.
It's graphic assault.
Yes.
But for 1972, again, this is not the kind of thing you had ever seen on screen. And they don't show anything really.
For the most part, is done in the background. If they're showing anything, it is very much blurred.
Yeah.
It is a perspective blur.
Or they just show a face. But that's still farther than most filmmakers had been willing to go up to 1972.
And I'll say this. Most of the time when it has been depicted, it's been happening to women. Mm-hmm. It's not happening to men.
Certainly not in 1970s. No. And they've got John Voight, like, they took his buckle off and tied him to a tree.
Yeah.
And
likely he is like running out of oxygen because it's tight around his neck.
Too tight, but every time he moves, it's clearly cutting off more.
Yes.
So he has to stay very still.
Yes.
So yeah, Bobby is attacked. Ed is about to be attacked.
Yes.
And just at the moment you think all is lost, the other two guys finally show up.
Yeah, Ed sees him past his shoulder.
Sees Lewis.
And he's aiming towards one of the guys, and he gets him in the back, and it's...
with his arrow.
Yeah, it's through and through on the arrow. And yeah, the other guy with the gun escapes, but he leaves the gun there. And this is where I kind of did not expect this movie to go. So... we have this happen. They're all back together. Bobby is traumatized. They're both traumatized.
They're all traumatized, except Lewis is weirdly calm.
And I expected all four of them to kind of have the Lewis attitude about everything. Because these are a bunch of backwoods hicks. They're not worth anything.
They
attacked me. There's no law out here. What the fuck? Let's just bury him and get the fuck out of here.
But
who cares?
You have an actual conversation. They're trying to figure out what the hell to do.
Yeah.
Drew is the exact opposite. He's saying we have to take the body.
The law
we have to get the law involved. And Lewis points out, you think I'm going to come back up here where everybody's related to everybody?
Right.
We're never going to get a fair trial.
Right.
And he points out the obvious. This place is going to be under hundreds and hundreds of feet of water in days, in weeks. Mm-hmm. Let's bury the body.
Yeah.
And of course, Bobby, having been attacked, is like, fuck him. Let's bury the body. So it's up to Ed to be the tiebreaker. They have a vote.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do?
It's like, you believe in civilization and democracy? Let's have a vote.
Yeah. And this scene goes on for like a long time where they're debating what the hell to do. They're all traumatized. That's
the thing I was not expecting. Like, they are legitimately talking about this seriously. It's not like a movie scene. Mm-mm. This is a serious debate between these men.
And they ultimately decide Ed is like freaking out, like, yeah, no, I know, and he finally says, I'm with Lewis.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what Lewis says.
Right.
And so Drew is in the minority.
Yeah, and like Ed is the guy who's got, the wife and the kid, and he's thinking about all that stuff, but at the same time, he was also going to be attacked.
Yeah.
By these guys.
Yeah. So Drew very much is in the minority, but they put it up to a vote, and he agreed that he would go along with whatever they voted for.
And they kind of trust Lewis that he's going to be able to get him out of this because he seems like he knows what he's doing. He's the one who shot him, and he's completely fine with it.
He's the one with the coolest head in this situation.
Yeah.
He says, this was self-defense.
Yeah.
Even if we went to the police, we got to tell him what happened. Bobby, frankly, doesn't want anybody to know what happened.
Right. He says it himself. Nobody's going to talk about this.
Yeah, we're burying this guy and we're all moving on with our lives, basically, is the decision they make.
Right.
And so they go up to the woods, they dig a big hole, and they bury the fucker.
Yeah, and they're happy to just move on and with their lives. Mm-hmm. Happy to actually still be living.
Yep. And I was half expecting that by the time they got back down to the canoes, because it's not a quick process to dig a hole and bury a man, even with four guys and your bare hands.
And they make a good scene about this. Like, Drew is like freaking out.
Yeah.
He is like in shock about the entire thing, and he didn't even get attacked. And they show him while they're all digging, like just kind of flailing
and gasping. He's like, like getting dirt everywhere. And they're like, again, very realistic. These guys are in the dirt. Their hands are dirty.
It is hard to dig a hole with your hands.
There is a shot of the four of them in the background digging the hole, and then you just see the dead body in the foreground.
Yeah.
Eyes wide open and blood coming out of his mouth.
It is done so well, so realistically. And that's not a dummy. That's a real dude.
No, that dude had to lay there with his eyes open.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But I have expected that by the time they got down there, the canoes were going to be gone.
Yeah, I had the same thought.
I was really waiting for this to escalate even more.
Right.
But they were able to get...
It's just going to turn into like fucking...
an ambush.
Or like warfare.
Yeah.
These guys all come in on them at the same time.
He gets reinforcements.
Exactly. But... they're not all that smart.
No. But they get in the boats, and Drew clearly is
still in shock.
Is in shock because he's like in the boat with Ed, and Ed's screaming at him to put on his life vest, and he's turning around and looking at him.
And slow down because they're going too fast. They're going ahead of everybody. Drew is at the head of everything. He doesn't put on his life jacket, and it's starting to get really, really bad again.
And he's either paddling too much or not enough or not at all.
Yeah.
And then he falls into the water or he dives into the water.
Yeah.
It's rather unclear what happens here.
It is completely unclear because we see him go into the water kind of head first. While this is all happening, people are freaking out. But in the back, Lewis is like looking up. You can see him look up at the cliffs because they're in this big gorge.
Like a valley of sorts.
So he's like looking up. He thinks that Drew got shot. It doesn't really make sense for him to be shot because number one, you didn't hear anything. And number two, he didn't react like he got shot.
But there is a man up there because...
there is.
Yeah, Drew falls out. We don't see Drew again.
Right.
The canoe breaks in half. The other canoe crashes into that one. They all go in the water.
Right.
So we got three guys. Like you said, Burt Reynolds bounces around and breaks a leg.
That's where that happens. He breaks his fucking femur. Like, that is a compound fracture. That shit is coming out of his leg.
He's got like crap on his... No. So he's screaming, Drew got shot, Drew got shot.
Yeah.
But we never heard a gunshot. We never saw anything. We didn't see anything happen.
Eventually see Drew's body again, and they don't see a gunshot wound.
Yeah, so I think we're supposed to believe that they were just kind of freaking out. Like Lewis sort of, while he had control and was calm, once he got in the water and Drew started freaking out, he started freaking out or something.
Yeah.
Because, they don't actually prove to the audience that Drew was shot.
Right.
It kind of just looks like Drew went nuts and jumped into the water.
I think, like you said while we were watching it, he was just in complete shock, and he just let go.
Yeah.
He stopped paddling, and he fell out.
Yeah, and he didn't have his vest on.
Yeah.
So he went under, and that was the end of Drew. But they did confirm there was a guy up top. So
Sure.
the only one of them in any state to do anything is Ed. And
They're
he climbs all the way up to the top of the rock wall.
They get their composure. They get Lewis all situated as much as they can. They put a splint on him in the form of one of their oars.
Yep, they break a paddle.
Right. So, yeah, Ed climbs up the entire cliff face, and it's getting dark, so he falls asleep up there. He wakes up, and there's a dude with a gun kind of surveying the bottom of the gorge.
Because they know if there is a guy up there, and Drew did get shot, they're not getting out of this gorge alive.
Right.
So they got to do something. And yeah, he gets up there, and he does the same thing where he points the arrow and his arm starts shaking, and it's like, oh God, he's got to take a shot, because at that moment the guy spots him.
And this all happens very, very quickly.
Yes.
I almost wanted to go back and look at it again, because what happens is he does shoot the guy in the neck.
Yeah, you think he misses.
Yeah.
But he doesn't miss. He catches the guy in the throat.
And the dude with the
keeps
gun.
Walking.
Yeah, and the dude with the gun misses him, because you can see the bullet ricochet off the rocks.
Mm-hmm. But it's enough for Ed to fall over and land on his own arrows, which goes through his side.
He had 2 arrows left. He shot one of them into the guy's neck, and he falls on the other one into his side.
Yeah,
and of course they have to pull it all
show
out.
it, and he's yanking it out. God.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like arrow pulling and blood. And again, surprising stuff for this kind of an era. This is where they're like, how far can we push this and get away with it?
Right.
And he manages to kill this guy, but what they say is, oh, it's the other dude from before, the toothless guy.
Right.
I am unclear if that was actually him, because I think he's also unsure. This guy has false teeth.
Yeah.
So either that man went all the way home, put in his teeth, and got another gun, or this is another guy.
I think it's another guy.
I think it might be, because at this point they're all so frazzled and confused. They don't know if up is down. They don't know what's going on. But he kills him.
Yeah.
They're like,
and they're satisfied with that.
Yep.
So he ties him up and brings him all the way down.
Down into the valley.
Yeah,
he uses him as leverage to
Right.
to swing himself down.
Yeah, to weight the rope so that's not flailing everywhere. So he gets all the way down there. The rope breaks, and he gets all like abrased on the rocks as he's falling down.
He's shirtless, and he just smacked against the rocks.
Yeah, he gets down far enough where he can like make one push against the rocks, and he's gonna fall into the water.
Yeah, he probably could have jumped, but he was still pretty high up.
Oh yeah, he would have broken a lot of
He
bones.
would, not that they were in good condition to begin with.
No. So yeah, he gets all the way down there. He shows them the dude's face. It's like, is this the guy? Because I didn't really get a good look at him.
And none of them can even agree.
No.
None of them can agree. So they strap some rocks to him and sink his body.
See ya.
And so that's 2 bodies now they've dealt with.
So they still can't find Drew here, but they say, okay, let's get Lewis in the bottom of the canoe that's still good, and we're gonna paddle ourselves out of here.
We gotta get a move on.
Yeah.
We gotta get the hell out of these woods.
Yeah. Eventually they do come across Drew's body.
Again, graphic shit. His
All
left
fucked up.
arm is dislocated and behind his head, and he's like wedged into some logs in the rapids.
I kind of, when I was looking at it at first, I thought he was impaled by one of those sticks.
I mean, like,
I know he wasn't.
Bobby made some comment about, like, it just keeps going, or like there's no end to this or something. And at first I was like, do you mean there's no end to him? Like his bottom half is missing?
Oh God.
I think he just means there's no end to this. Like it just keeps getting worse and worse, this situation.
Yeah.
And then they drag him a little bit, but ultimately they sink his body too.
Sure. They say a little bit about him.
They say a little prayer.
Whatever they knew about him. Yeah, he's got a wife and kid, I guess.
Yep.
And they barely even know their names.
You were the best of us, they say, and they sink him to the bottom.
Well, he's the one that made the one vote to say, hey, let's do the right thing, quote unquote.
I mean, he was. It's not untrue, but yeah, they sink his body because they don't know what else to do, because they're going to have to explain his death.
Right. And not only do they have to explain his death, they got to explain the other guy's death, and all these bodies are piling up.
Oh yeah, they'll never forget this trip.
Yeah.
But they finally make it. They go down the really bad rapids. Somehow they survive. They find themselves back at the beginning in the town they were trying to get to. And through some small miracle, their cars are actually there.
Right. They were good to their word.
So go figure. And they actually have a telephone they can use. They call the ambulance. Mm-hmm. But before this, they say, this is our story. Everything happened right here.
Right.
We don't know what happened to Drew. He went under the water. He's missing.
Yep.
This is how he broke his leg. The canoe broke here. All of these things happened.
Right.
That's our story.
One part of the story, though, is a little bit off because the sheriff or one of the deputies or whatever say, you know what? You told us that your canoe broke in half here, but actually it was further up.
We found it upriver.
Right. How does a canoe go all the way upriver when you said it happened down here? Mm-hmm. Well, what they're trying to do is get them off the scent of where the other body was buried.
Right. Because if they are close to where the canoe is, they're close to all the bodies.
Yeah.
So they need to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah. And get them off their scent.
Yeah. So I was kind of at this point like, how does this movie end exactly?
Yeah.
And they're in this podunk little town. They take Lewis to the hospital. Mm-hmm. He's there for God knows how many days, and they say he's going to be lucky if he keeps his leg.
Right. And there's actually another deputy like kind of hanging out there to see when he wakes up.
To question him, get his story.
To see what happened there. And Ed comes in and sees that he's actually kind of awake.
Well, and they had to change their story already because the second they gave the story to the cops and they found the canoe upriver, he's like, I told them what we said, but I don't think they believed me.
And he kind of whispers to him, hey, Lewis, we had to change the story. And then you see him wake up and give him a little wink.
Burt Reynolds, in his Burt Reynolds way,
God damn it,
winks at him. And then he's like, what happened? I don't remember a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one way to cover your tracks.
Yeah.
Just pretend like you don't know what the fuck happened.
Amnesia. Convenient amnesia.
I hit my head on the rocks and I woke up here.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, on the edge. Like, are they going to find them? Are they coming after them? Are the people going to get them? Like, what's going to happen?
Are the cops in on it?
Yeah, because those cops are like, oh, he's got a brother-in-law that lives up there. He went out hunting and hasn't been seen 3 days.
Yeah, those two went out hunting together and they haven't been seen back.
Mm-hmm. So there's kind of some suspicious activities, but they don't have any evidence.
Sure.
So finally, the sheriff just says, we don't want to see you up in these parts anymore.
Yeah.
Not that it matters because this whole town is going to be underwater soon.
He wants to have the town die a peaceful death.
Yep. And like, there's a taxi driver that's like, oh, I went to school over there. I used to work over there.
Right.
Now, it's going to be underwater. Best thing that ever happened to this town.
Yeah. But it's probably true.
Yeah. If that tells you anything about the shithole these guys are living in, like they propped up the church and they're driving that to higher ground.
The most important thing is the church that needs to get out of town and wherever the new town is going to be.
They're digging up the graveyard, all of the caskets,
That's
the coffins.
Something I would have never thought of.
Oh yeah, this is absolutely a real thing. Anytime they have to flood a town, the first things to go are any historical landmarks that you want to make sure to preserve.
Yep.
But more importantly, the cemeteries. Because it's
otherwise, eventually, it is going to all float up.
Right. They're going to come bobbing up. Nobody wants 200 bodies in coffins floating to the top.
Yeah.
So it makes total sense. But they just sort of watch this happen. So Ed stays a little longer and Bobby says, I don't think I'm going to see you for a while, Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm going to go now. I'm going to drive this car. Mm-hmm. I'm going to leave.
Not really saying how Lewis is going to get home.
No. They have one scene together where they're eating at this like little bed and breakfast or something with these old timers.
Yeah.
And like Ed just starts sobbing at the table.
Right.
Because they're also fucked in the head now.
Yeah.
And he's got a car. The other one's got a car. I assume Ed was staying a little longer just because Lewis is in the hospital.
Maybe.
But they don't really show that. The next scene, they just show him back at home with his wife.
Yeah.
Who, consequently, I looked up, is Ned Beatty's wife at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, because it said something Beatty, and she's like, was the wife of Ned Beatty.
All right.
Well, that would make sense then.
All right.
And yeah,
it's a way to have a cheap actor in the movie.
He's with his wife, he's with his kid, and he just wakes up like screaming from a nightmare because he dreams this hand is like floating to the top of the lake.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. They got away with it for now.
Yes.
But eventually, all of those bodies very much could come floating back up to the top. Like, you weigh them down, so when they blow up, they
in this
don't
case,
do that.
there are 3 bodies.
There are 3 bodies.
We got the guy who got shot with the arrow, we got Drew, and we got the sniper.
Yeah, and they reported Drew missing. They basically said he fell out of the boat, he wasn't wearing his life vest, we don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
It's only half true.
Well, and the sheriff questions him while he's in the car, right when he's about to get out of town, saying, I have this one more theory. Why did you have 4 life vests? And the other guy wasn't wearing it. Why wasn't he wearing it? I don't know.
And he doesn't.
It's true. He was yelling at him to put it on.
So yeah, this is like definitely a traumatic weekend.
To say the least.
To say the least. And you're right, it did go in kind of a different direction than I expected because it went from a, bro weekend to a survivalist, like, panic, what the hell do we do?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And now they have a secret. And anytime you have a secret and you're just trying to stay alive, things can unravel quickly.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen.
No, and just because they make it to the end of their tale, they demonstrate that they're fucked up and they're probably going to be feeling the effects of this for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Like when they say, they'll never forget it. Oh, no, nor will I. This is messed up.
So just to put a little bit of a coda on this movie actually did get nominated for Best Picture. It also got nominated for Best Director and Best Editing.
I believe the editing, because there's a lot of good stuff in here.
There is all sorts of really good stuff here. The only thing that I had a problem with is when Ed was climbing up the cliff and it is starting to get dark.
They're doing the
day for night shot, and like you said, it works a lot better when it's black and white. You can get stuff like that, but there's still too much color in this.
This just
they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it in 1972. There's this weird like anti-halo on the outlines of everything.
Yeah.
It just looks bad.
And they hadn't quite figured out a way to shoot well in the dark. And even if they could, I assume they really had John Voight climbing up the side of the rocks because he was doing about everything else. That's too dangerous to do at night. So that's probably why, even if they could have filmed at night, they didn't. Because they wanted him to do it, and it just was too dangerous.
But yeah, going back to the editing thing, like them going down the river and having all that dialogue, most of it is ADR. It's done after the fact. So they have the sound of the river going, but then they add in the voices of them talking.
Yep.
You couldn't really tell all that much while it was happening, but if you know anything about film and how it's made, you can't get microphones on those guys.
No.
You're not going to get like a boom mic that far into the river. Of them catching them in their conversations.
There's a sound guy laying in the bed of the canoe.
Yeah. So, like, just the editing of the video of them going down was really well shot. It was just, I can't say anything better about it.
Well, and the sound in this is actually all just ambient noise for the most part.
There's hardly any music.
There's no score to this. The only song is the dueling banjos.
Yeah.
And they kind of sample it, and they have different variations on it throughout the movie. Yeah, so there's like another part where they're on the water. They're just sort of playing it. And then there's a part near the end of the movie where it's in like a weird minor key.
Yeah.
Which, of course, for me was almost a little bit distracting because I was like, oh God, are they in the woods? The guy with the banjo is following them through the woods.
Yeah, and the whole movie has this overhang of this dread. Like, these guys are out there and they're tracking us the entire way. It's like the fucking Uruk-hai in Lord of the Rings. They're following us down the river at the end of Fellowship.
They even see the kid with the banjo, like when they're on the water, they get going a little bit.
Yeah, he's up there on the bridge
staring at them.
Right.
And so, yeah, you just sort of assume there's people along the water following them the whole way.
But that's the thing. It is not as notorious and sinister as you think it is.
No.
By the end of it, they go back to this little town. There's just a bunch of simple people there, and they're there to help out. They're probably not going to have to pay for anything.
Well, and there's that one scene when they get there the first night and they're camping. Lewis kind of perks up and he thinks he hears something, and he goes out into the woods and just does like a little circle.
Sure.
And it makes you a little on edge.
Right.
But then it sort of sets the tone that maybe the worst of this is just in their imaginations.
In their head.
It's in their heads, and they are overreacting.
Yeah.
Now, they're clearly not, because these guys were very real and they very much were attacked.
Yes.
But from then on, it's like, what is real? I don't fucking know. Every time I hear this banjo music,
Right.
I'm thinking they're going to be attacked again.
And even the sniper that Ed ended up killing, you don't know what that's about.
Is that really the guy?
Right.
Did he
I don't
really
think that's
shoot
really
Drew?
the guy. And like, he wasn't searching for him, because when the guy with the gun sees Ed pointing the bow and arrow at him, how else is he going to react?
Yeah.
He's going to shoot him.
Yeah, he's at least going to point his weapon back at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
It begs a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Like, what was really happening here? And did these guys do the right thing, or did they just overreact?
Yeah.
So it makes you ask a lot of interesting questions.
Yeah.
And to put kind of some context, we talked about it in the last episode for 1962 contextually. We're trying to pick these movies for like the time they were made and how they represent this time.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is not that it's a quintessentially like about the 70s, but it is stylistically a very strong representation of the kinds of movies the 70s brought forth.
Yes. This is more about not the society, but about the filmmaking of the 70s.
Yes. We, as a society, decided that we were ready for a different kind of cinema.
Yeah. Like, this is fucking raw and graphic.
Comparing the two movies we just watched from 62 to 72.
Yeah.
How very different these two movies are.
Totally.
And 62, there was some graphic stuff in The Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah.
But it was very tame graphic compared to this.
Totally, yeah. I mean, people got shot in the head in the last movie.
And people got shot in the chest and the neck.
But they showed everything.
But there was blood.
There was blood. Yeah. And this movie paved the way for a movie like a Rambo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A few years down the road, what's that, 77 or something that came out?
I can't remember. But yeah, First Blood is about...
Late 70s that one came out, I think.
I think so. Late 70s or early 80s, I can't remember. But I've seen First Blood, and it is... Wow.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And they just keep on getting worse after that. But anyway, I think that's all we're going to have here for Deliverance, Betsy. This is 1972. We are doing all of the twos of the years from 1962 up until this year, 2022. One movie every year until then. So before we get out of here, we are going to read an email. This one comes in from our superfan, Stephanie, about The Fighter. She says, I love Amy Adams. She is so good and needs an Oscar. Christian Bale is phenomenal in most things, but this one is not my favorite. Marky Mark is great in this one. Melissa Leo is also great. The cast overall is excellent. The story is interesting. I guess there was just something missing for me. Maybe it was lacking emotional connection for me too. Yeah, that was my reaction to it. I didn't feel it. I didn't get it.
You weren't invested in those characters in a way you maybe thought you were supposed to be.
Right. The filmmakers really wanted me to have an emotional connection with these people. I didn't get it.
I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie.
I do too. I think it is worth a nomination, but definitely not a win. It is not one that I plan on really revisiting anytime soon.
Probably not.
So, but again, the actors themselves, fantastic. Going back to the email, quote of the episode, is Mickey short for Mitchard?
It's a valid question.
Stephanie says, I laughed. It is close to spooky season. I can't wait to watch all the horror movies. Yeah, we're into September now, so at the end of this series, we've got a little bit of time here before Halloween starts. We do plan on doing another quote-unquote October series of movies.
We don't call them Halloween because we just watch whatever we want.
It is in the vein of the things that you watch during spooky season.
Vaguely spooky movies with Betsy and Trent.
Eventually we'll get a good descriptor for those, but until then, they just are what they are. But anyway, this is the Movies of the Decade series. We're going to continue on with 1982 next week. But in the meantime, if you would like to email us, the email address is neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter, neverseenit_pod on Twitter. We've also got the other social media pages, Facebook and Instagram. The name there is neverseenitpod1. What we ask is you go and like those pages and share the posts with your friends. If you see an episode that you think your friends are going to like, just share it with them directly or just share it on your page. We would very much appreciate that. We would also appreciate you supporting us financially. Click the link in the podcast description to throw us a buck on Anchor. If there's other ways that you want to support us, just email us and we'll let you know how. But this has been another episode of Never Seen It. We'll be back with 1982. It's going to be a good one, guys. I promise you. I promise you that. My name is Trent.
My name is Betsy.
And we'll be back with another episode of Never Seen It.
Bye, guys.